Are you worried that you're going to get lonely when you hit the road in your van or your RV by yourself? The answer is you might, or you might not. You know, there are a lot of videos out there that talk about if the person creating the video gets lonely. But that doesn't help you at all. What you need to figure out is, will you get lonely? And that's what I'm going to do today. So we're going to do two things here. The first thing is we're going to talk about how you can figure out if you're going to get lonely on the road. And the second thing we're going to do is then talk about what you can do if you decide to hit the road and you do get lonely. And what you do is going to depend if you are somebody that's likely to get lonely or somebody that is probably not going to get lonely. So here we go. We're going to start by thinking back a few years when the world shut down. You all know what I'm talking about. And if you're like me and you live alone, that meant you were cooped up in your house or in your yard all by yourself for a very long time. Even if you created that little circle of people that you felt safe with and you were able to see a few people periodically, you still didn't have the ability to go out and socialize the way you're used to, or even just getting human contact by going to the grocery store or the gym. So how was that for you? Of course, we all hated what was happening in the world. We all hated that we didn't know if it was dangerous to go in and out of places. We all hated that. But besides that, did you kind of think that it was a little bit of a silver lining that you got to spend a lot of time at home by yourself and it wasn't weird because you wanted to be by yourself? That's me, actually. Or did you dread another week, another month of being all by yourself and trying to figure out how to entertain yourself and keep your mood up, even if you had plenty to keep yourself busy? Now, a lot of people talk about introvert versus extrovert, but I think they're using it wrong. The true definition of introvert versus extrovert has to do with how you recharge your batteries when you are feeling run down. Do you do better by going out and seeing people and socializing and having conversations with people in person? And does that make you feel better? And then you've got more energy and then you're raring to go do other stuff? Or do you need to go home by yourself and just veg out for a little bit and not talk to anybody so that you can feel up to getting together with people in the future? That's the difference between an extrovert and an introvert. I am one of those people that is a social introvert. I absolutely enjoy every minute of being out with people. I find it very easy to talk to strangers. I do have a hard time making friends because I don't really believe that they're going to want to get together with me after that little brief encounter while we were both waiting for our pizza. But I don't have any problem having a conversation with that person. But if I have plans and I go out with people, especially if it's like a holiday barbecue and there's a bunch of people there and there's people I don't know and there's people I do know, but there's a lot of people, I can tell you candidly that I can spend a week at home by myself after an event like that before I feel like seeing anybody. I am an introvert. But this video is about you, not me. So I want you to think about, how did you feel about it during those months and months of being isolated in your home when the world was locked down? How do you feel after you spend an afternoon or an evening at a party or with a group of people even if they're your friends, or a family event, even though you love all of those people? Does it just get you excited to do more? Or do you really feel like you need some time to yourself? That is going to have a big impact on how you deal with loneliness on the road, and if you will even feel lonely on the road. So we're going to start with the easier one, and that is somebody like me who really, really needs alone time. I'm perfectly fine interacting with people, but I need alone time. So being in my van every evening, every morning, all by myself, and maybe even for days on end or weeks on end, would be totally fine. I don't need that interaction to be in a good mood. That doesn't mean that I don't occasionally miss some interaction. And there are some things that really, really help. One of the things that helps is thinking about hobbies that you've always wished you had time for, but you just didn't. Maybe there are things that you did when you were young, and as you became an adult and you got busy with life and responsibilities and work, maybe kids, you just didn't have time for it anymore. I was that way with reading. I used to love to read books. And I haven't read a book for pleasure in a really long time. So I'm part-time and I don't have all of the hours I need to fill. But if I was full-time or I was going on a 3-month excursion, you can bet I would be bringing some books with me. And truthfully, I like the books where you flip the pages. It just feels tactile and it feels different than doing digital stuff. Reading a book on an electronic device would not give me the same pleasure as flipping the pages and feeling like I'm disconnecting and I am allowing myself some time to just do something I want to do. But maybe for you, it's you want to learn to play the guitar, or you want to spend a lot of time whittling and doing wood carving. There are a ton of things you could do in your van or your RV. Just think about it. And no, you're not going to be able to do woodworking that involves big pieces of wood and big pieces of equipment. But maybe there are some things you could do that involves that hobby. I bet if you think about it, you could probably come up with some. I would love to hear what hobbies you would want to do. Leave me a comment and let me know. Maybe it'll give me some ideas of things that I want to do. Another great thing to do, especially if you're like me and you are fine with your alone time, is to bring a pet. This is Jasmine. And Jasmine is one of my dogs that I bring with me. She is just a joy to be around. She is very needy. She's a little neurotic. She's afraid of everything and lives by routine. So living in a van actually works really well for her because we have very, very solid routines over when they go out and where the bowl sits and things like that. And she demands it. Right, Jasmine? Jasmine? Yeah, she won't make eye contact, and I've had her for 7 years. But I love her dearly. And this is Josie. I got her at the same time I got Jasmine. And she is a social butterfly. Right, Josie? Josie. Oh, now she's going to be shy. Of course, we turned the camera on and she decided to be shy. Hey, will you say hi to the camera? Yeah? You a good girl? Well, she's being her little shy self right now, but the two of them need me so much, and they give me somebody to talk to. They give me somebody to take care of, but they don't demand very much. And Honestly, if I wanted to sit there and read a book for hours, as long as they could lay next to me, they would be in heaven. But maybe you're not a dog person. I know people that bring cats, and I can imagine maybe a bird or a snake. Not for me, but maybe you like snakes. Or even a fishbowl, if you could figure out how to tie it down so it doesn't move around too much and doesn't spill anything. I don't know. I can imagine that there's a lot of pets that could do okay in a van or an RV. You need to think about temperature, and that definitely means that you need to have a way to keep it cool or warm, depending upon what's going on outside, so that they are in comfortable surroundings, whether you are with them inside or not. You need to figure out if it's going to work. But if it can, they are a joy to have along. So now I want to speak specifically to those people that said, yeah, I really need to be around people to feel at my best. And I'm worried that going off in an RV or a van for extended periods or all of the time is going to be really hard and really lonely. If that's you, these tips are for you. Now, they're still good for everybody. I believe these things are important for me too, but I don't need them as much as somebody that's really an extrovert will need. So here we go. The first one I want to talk about is keeping a home base. I know a lot of people talk about van life or RV life, and they talk about selling everything and going on the road. If you can afford it, I would really consider keeping an apartment or a condo or a house that you can go back to, whether it is once a month or once a year. It's really a smart idea for most people, even somebody like me who doesn't need as much social interaction. But if you are somebody that really, really needs to see your friends and your family, keeping that home, that a place that you can go back to, and you can plan that I'm going to be home in 2 weeks, or I'm going to be home in 2 months, and you can start making plans with people to do things, may just help out with that loneliness on the road, but it will definitely help out in the long run when you know you're going to be seeing people and you're going to be maintaining relationships. Because if you are on the road all of the time, you have to really work at maintaining relationships. And for somebody that really needs to see people, it may actually make them feel worse if they can talk to people periodically, but they just never get to see them and do anything. I'm not sure, because that's not my personality, but I'm guessing a phone conversation is just not going to be good enough if you are one of those people that really needs to get together with people in person. There are other advantages for keeping a home base, even though you are traveling a lot or most of the time. And I'll talk about that in another video. But today, I want to keep focusing on how you can keep yourself from getting lonely. In addition to having that home base where you know a lot of people and you can get together with them when you are in between being on the road, most of us know people all over the country for one reason or another. Maybe it's former coworkers, maybe you're in some kind of a community. I'm in a coaching community and I know people all over the country, even all over the world, many of which I've never even met in person. But what a wonderful opportunity to plan some trips to go to where these people live and get together with them. Go see your old college friends. Go see your old best friend that moved away. Go see that distant relative that you almost never see. So plan your route, including some stops with these people. Once you get involved in the van life or the RV life and you start watching YouTube videos, you will discover that there are a lot of meetups. Sometimes they're called gatherings, sometimes they're called caravans. There are big events and small events where different YouTubers who have a following have an event that they plan in which a bunch of van lifers or RVers travel together to a location, or they meet up at a location. And whether it's a weekend or whether it's a month, there are places you can go and you can get together with people that you become your friends because you're doing this RV nomadic lifestyle. You can also slow down your travel, which will also make it cheaper, and stay for longer periods, whether it's a state park or a campground, and get to know the people that are camped near you. And while they won't be forever friends, unless you make an effort to see them periodically and keep in touch, it will be people to do stuff with so that you're not feeling so alone. So my last suggestion is to look and see if there is some kind of an online community that you can join. Now, I think you have to be careful what that community is. There are a lot of Facebook groups and forums where people are posting, and they don't always stay positive. What I'm going to suggest is you look for a community that has something in common with you. It might not be the RV lifestyle. It might not be van life. I am in a reseller group. It's a coaching group coaching, with lots of calls throughout the week, but there's also a 24/7 open Zoom room, which I can log into at any time of any day or night, and somebody else is going to be in that room to have a conversation with. There's a few of us that log in almost every night. You get to hang out for a few hours with people all across the world. One of the ladies that comes to that evening Zoom room that we call the late night crew lives in Australia. So for her, it's afternoon, but she comes and joins us while we're in our evenings, and she works during the day, and we are usually finishing up some work and we're all joking around. And they have become friends. And yes, I know some of you will say it's not the same as in-person friends, but truthfully, they know me better than a lot of in-person friends do, because we talk about the important stuff. No, they don't know what it's like to go to a restaurant with me. They don't know what I'm going to order, but they know what I believe and what I think, and they can tell when I'm having a bad day. Anyway, see if you can find something. See if you can find a community. And it doesn't have to be about nomadic travel or van life or RVs. It could be about being a digital nomad. It could be a bird watching group. It could be a knitting group. It doesn't matter what it is. There are definitely groups about building YouTube channels, and there are definitely groups about doing all kinds of entrepreneurial things. So find a group. It's great for everybody, but if you're somebody that's inclined to get lonely, if you're by yourself too much, having something that has a 24/7 Zoom room where you can turn on a camera and see some people in person is going to really help. I'm curious, before you go, will you just take a second and leave a comment? Are you inclined to get lonely, or do you love your alone time? How would you fill your alone time? Would it be some kind of hobby you bring along with you so you can do it? Or is it something else? And did I forget anything? I'm sure there are things I forgot. There's always more ideas. Share them with me. I'd love to hear about them. See you next week.